you've gotten mad at me because I posted reaction to you saying that at 87, GSP looks smaller. Now, I'll just tell you.
There's probably more to it than that.
No, but there probably is. As a media guy and a fight fan, when fighters make comments that guys look smaller than they did in the past, that's the way we take it. So we need to stop taking it that way. That's not what you mean, because you just mentioned there's a steroid issue. It's kind of inherent now in the world of sports that when you look at a boxer, you look at a football player, you look at especially baseball, Matt, you know if I said Alex Rodriguez, he looks bigger or smaller, there's something implied there.
Well, if all I said was he looked smaller during the fight and you took it as he got off steroids, then you're wrong, because I'm just saying he didn't prepare enough for that fight. Whether it's lifting weights, whether it's doing cardio, and he even went into that after the fight. He said, "Hey, if I was fighting a Matt Hughes or a BJ Penn, I would have trained a lot differently." So I mean, I'm not saying that George got off steroids or growth hormone or any other product. I'm just saying he didn't prepare enough for the fight. I think you could visually tell when GSP walked in the ring, he didn't take the fight that serious.
Okay. So when fighters say guys look smaller, we should not read into it too much. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think you should read it into enough to say Matt is saying that he's off steroids.
All right.
That steroid word is like kind of
it is.
It's a big word to throw around.
And you know what? Troy Mandalones, who is part of the Penn camp, told me before the actually his fight and after the GSP Penn fight that he started making suggestions like, hey, GSP is on the the wacky cereal, and I don't know how that guy is that big. So I mean, he pretty much said it. Now he's been cut. Now I don't know if that's why he was cut, but what do you think about it? And guys I've heard people say it about you. I've heard people say it about lots of fighters. So how do you react as a fighter to another fighter outright saying it?
I can't remember any time anybody that I fought has said that I was on steroids. Not saying it hasn't happened. I just don't remember it. If people want to say I'm on steroids, I laugh at them. I've never done an illegal drug in my life. When I was under 21, I drank. That's it. So I mean, I just haven't. But I know what happens. I know there's a lot of. I'm so ignorant to it. I don't even know what's illegal and illegal. Growth hormone, I think, is illegal, and I think that floats around a lot. Steroids are obviously illegal, and I know there's people. I know firsthand people do it, and I've heard down the road through the grapevine that people do it. So,
but you're not concerned about the whole thing as an issue, as a fighter. It's not an unfair advantage. It's not putting you in a dangerous position.
It gives them more advantage, yes. But I'm not going to sit here and throw a fit about it, because I'm not the commission board. I'm just the other opponent, and I can deal with it. If a guy's going to do steroids or growth, I'm going to deal with it the best way I can. But I mean, I can't be the fighter and the commission at the same time.
Right. And you do think the system is fair for testing? And the way penalties are handed out, because, Sean Sherk's around here. Sean didn't think it was fair. He still doesn't think that, he was doing anything. Guys try to fight it. We've got the guy, Bigfoot Silva, who essentially said, screw it, I'm going to go fight. Is it fair? Like, what would ever happen if you did test positive for something? You had no idea what the hell you took, but guess what? Now you're labeled, and you have really no right to fight it.
You know what? In my heart, I believe Sean Sherk's telling the truth on the steroids. My opinion, I really do. I've known Sean for a little while, and if he says he didn't do steroids, I believe the guy. Now, if it was me, I don't know how the proceedings went. If it was me and they said, Matt, you tested positive, I would say, take a hair, I'll pay for it. If I pay for this testing that shows that I haven't done anything, then you got to pay for the testing. If it shows that I have done something illegal, then hey, I'll pay for the testing. You can label me whatever you want.
Right.
I know what goes in my body. Now, I don't know if he had the opportunity to do that or what, but if they won't retest him and do something, because mistakes happen in the world. It just does. Mistakes happen. So, I mean, if the commission comes back and said, you tested positive this time, and that's just the way it is, I would say, hey, test me a different way, whether through a hair or some other way. I mean, maybe a tissue. I just don't know, but I would have got a second test.
How much do you worry about taking certain supplements? I mean, have you cut it down to nothing? Because, I mean, we're here at the Arnold. Hey, everyone's trying to come up with a new product. Who the hell knows what's and stuff? Because, there's been multiple products over the years. You find out after using it, you thought it was legal. All of a sudden, there's some kind of testosterone in it. I mean, I would think you almost get to the point where you're afraid to take anything.
I don't take a whole lot. It's funny, Cyto Sports right here. I take some of their product, Fast Twitch and Cyto, before I work out, and I take 2 products, Muscle Milk and Cyto Gainer, after I work out. So I tell you what, when the commission comes up, they ask you, what have you been taking? I put them on the list, and actually I'll bring a label in and say, these are the 4 products that I have bought, that I put in my body, that is not food, basically. So I think fighters just need to be smart about what they are putting in their body and get some documentation and say, hey, this is it. I bought it right over the counter. Right. You know, it's not illegal.
People have always looked at me. I've always been on the spotlight just because of my build, and there's always been a kind of a question mark, you know, guys always wondered. But as far as body types, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you put 10 pounds on over the course of 3 months and you're a full-grown man and you're not in any type of growth spurt, you know, like I said, I'm not going to point fingers. I know people point fingers at me, and I hate it. You know, I mean, do the research, know the facts before you accuse somebody of something. I'm not going to point fingers at somebody else because of the way they look.
So where are you now in terms of mindset after all that went down? I know you stand by, you say you didn't do anything, at least knowingly. So that said, you are labeled. You are labeled for life. That is part of a positive test, and it happens in every sport. So how do you approach it now?
I just approach it the way I've always approached this. I've got nothing to hide. I'll talk about it whenever people want to talk about it. And I know I didn't take anything. You know, I did everything I could possibly do to prove my innocence. You know, with blood work, which is more accurate for testing for steroids than urinalysis, clean blood work, 3 polygraph, lie detector tests, passed all 3 of them. You know, plus all the stuff that we found on how my samples were handled and all that stuff too. I mean, I've got a lot of proof that shows I didn't take anything, and obviously by the commission reducing my sentence half, that says something too.
Do you think the testing system is incredibly flawed, and do you feel like you don't have rights?
I think the testing system is very flawed, and I feel like, I don't know what it's like with the other commissions, but when I was going through my case with the California Commission, I had no rights. Yeah. I was nothing. They treated me so bad, and it just blows my mind to think that the commission would treat somebody like that. I'm a professional athlete. I worked very hard to get to where I'm at. Look at my research. Look at my facts before you tell me I'm guilty. At least hear me out. Don't tell me you're guilty and close the door and slam it in my face and not even give me an opportunity to defend myself. That's terrible.
How does UFC handle these situations? Do they ever come to you and go, you know what, don't fight it, go away quietly? Because I'll tell you, in the past, I truly believe this, and I think he handled it maybe a little more recklessly. Not that you were reckless, but when Josh Barnett tried to fight it, I kind of think he's paid for it for the rest of his career, that they didn't like it at the time. But maybe UFC is in a different position now. Maybe they can allow you guys to fight it and be public about it. Maybe back then it was kind of more embarrassing as they were trying to grow themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the thing is, I mean, Dana White and the UFC, they backed me up from day one. Dana called me, asked me, did you do it? I told him no. He said, okay, I believe you. That was before I had any facts. And then as the facts started coming out, he's like, okay, you know what? I know you're not lying to me. I know. You know, you've shown proof. And the UFC, you know, Kirk Hendricks, the UFC lawyer, was at my case, and Mark Ratner, the vice president, was at my case, and they saw how things were handled. So they've backed me up since the beginning, and that's great. You know, it's nice to have somebody on you helping you out and supporting you during the hard times, because a lot of people jump ship. A lot of fans that I thought were my fans, man, they jump ship so fast it just makes your head spin. You know, so you just realize that. Who supports you during the hard times are the ones that you got to really respect.
One last thing on the labeling, because now you're stuck with that. You know, Alex Rodriguez is stuck with that, although he admitted he actually did it, and they know, and they had a positive test. So you are labeled. When a guy like BJ Penn talks trash before the fight, makes that a centerpiece of the promotion, then afterwards goes, you know what, it was just part of the promotion, don't worry about it. I gotta tell you, maybe I'm not as mature as you, maybe you'll give me a better answer. If it's me, I hold grudges. I'm sorry, but I don't immediately forgive you. That stays in the back of my head.
Yeah. You know what, I'm not the kind of guy that holds a grudge, you know. I mean, I'm just like, I let bygones be bygones, and I'm just not that type of guy, you know. I mean, I wanna be an adult about the situation. Maybe he was building the fight.